Excuse the crazy hair, but I wanted to share this story with you guys. Today is my daughter's 9th birthday, and I had a reminder from 7 years ago, the post that I had made to celebrate my daughter's birthday when she was 2 years old. And the reason why this stuck out to me so much is because the post said something like, happy 2nd birthday to my amazing daughter, I love you, right? And that struck me as odd because if you know me, you know that I absolutely love to use social media as a platform to share my experiences and how I feel and my gratitude and all of that. And it was just so shocking that I chose not to really put much effort into that post. And I want to clarify here, I'm not saying that somebody needs to be all over Facebook about people if they love them. But what I'm saying is I typically do. And so to see that I didn't, it caused me to just sit in reflection. And there's been such a transformation inside of me as a parent. You see, back then, until my daughter was about 3, I was a different mom. And what I really want to stress is that it wasn't a representation of who I am. It was a representation of how I felt back then and my mental state, my emotional state. You see, when my daughter was young, she felt like an obligation to me. I was exhausted, like physically, mentally, emotionally exhausted. I did not take care of myself. And I'm not just talking about nutritionally. I'm not just talking about did I eat well, did I work out. I'm talking about I never took time to take care of myself as a human being. Growing up in the childhood that I grew up in, and some of you guys may not understand of this, some of you guys will, I definitely know my sisters can relate. We lived in a high stress, high anxiety environment, one where you never knew what you were going to be walking into. My situation growing up had moments when my parents were the most loving, and then it had situations where my parents were not. And you never quite knew what parent you were going to get that day. And so we learned how to operate in high stress, difficult situations. And that felt normal to me. And so my depression didn't look like regular depression. I didn't lay in my bed for days. I didn't go without showering. I didn't do the things that a lot of people do when they experience depression. I was a high functioning depressed person. I was promoted through depression. I made more money through depression. I was able to purchase things through depression. I held relationships through depression. There was so much. I earned degrees through depression. There was so much that I was able to do inside of that state. And because I wasn't aware of how poorly my mental and emotional state was, because I was just so used to just push through, I never even noticed how poorly I was showing up for my child. Guys, I was so exhausted. I used to just think, if I could just put her to bed and just have a little alone time, because I was just so stressed. When you start to take care of yourself, when you start to give yourself the space that you need, the time that you need, the self-love that you need, the encouragement that you need, when you start lifting yourself up, when you start surrounding yourself by other people who lift you up, you don't become somebody different. You just get to open the door on the cage that you're living in, and you get freedom. And when you can release yourself from your own captivity, you start to show up differently. I started showing up differently for my child. It wasn't about how quickly could I get her to bed and out of my hair. It became about how could I create experiences with her where I could show her how much she mattered, show her how important it was for her to believe in herself and for her to take care of herself. And you know how you do that, guys? You don't do that in building your kids up. You do that in building yourself up. Layla is not compassionate in giving naturally. She's compassionate in giving because she sees me being compassionate in giving. Kids want to be like you. And so when you can be better and kids go, I want to be like mommy, and they start doing those things, and then they start to feel how good it feels to live like that, it develops intrinsic value inside of them. I often hear, what makes the difference between somebody who just does it because it's the right thing to do and somebody who does it because they get something from it? Expose your kids to how good it feels to do something. For a lot of our kids, what feels best is for them to be by themselves. What feels best is for them to play their video game. What feels best is for them to lay down with somebody before they're too, when they're too young, before they're old enough to make that healthy choice. And those things are feeling best for them because the experiences that we're creating for them don't feel good. When you can stop hoping on your kids. Guys, I get it. My kid drives me crazy too. She's just like every other kid. She's sassy and she's going to talk back and she's going to want, things that I don't want her to have, and she's going to have those days and she's going to be argumentative, of course. But if the only experiences she ever has on me is me ragging on her that I want her to be different, then mommy doesn't feel good. And the experiences with mommy don't feel good. And so it's going to force her to go looking for something that does feel good. Look at what our kids are choosing that make them feel good. Just imagine if you felt good. Just imagine if your house felt good. Just imagine if the things that you raised your children to do, what if those things felt good? No parent is perfect. No child is perfect. But I promise you that we both win, parent and child, when we can just increase the love and the presence, the connection.